Okay, this is where we're going. I'm going to offer a situation. Son, the family, let's agree that families have a history and tradition. Let's go further and say there's also some personal learning that has allowed the family to succeed on whatever level they have reached. I mean, every family, the father and the mother know what they have gone through themselves, the struggles they've had to go through. They carry their family traditions, culture, religion with them. And then they have to strive and go through quite an effort to reach a success, a measure of success. They've had to have some kind of success to have the kid. Have to have a family, have to support them. Now, would you not agree that the first impulse of a family should be to survive? And with to survive and with a measure of success. That is what all families want with their children. You have to get kids to learn how to survive. And you want them to learn to do it with some degree of success, but you want something else. Since you played such a role in this, ideally, bring them up to be like you. Then the kid then becomes like you, then all the interrelationships the father has had with his colleagues, right? If he comes along now and he's similar to Papa, he has an easy access into something. And that's a measure of survival. That's a survival. Now, this is perfectly legitimate. This is normal. There should be nothing that interferes with that. Oh, so long as we come into this world with a blank slate. If we come in and there's no predisposition to do anything special, to become part of the family and the traditions, it's a clean slate, there should be no obstacle. See, this brings up the problem. Why do people get upset when they have a problem? Why don't they accept it and stop the nonsense? Where's the revolt? Why is there a revolt? Why is there anger and frustration when you have a problem? Where does it come from? It shouldn't be there. If there's a blank slate and you just go ahead and follow everything, there should be no objection, unless in some way you try to do something apart from this. But then you would know you're doing it. There wouldn't be a problem. What we call a problem. Now, what is this idea? That means we come into this world with some predisposition towards some kind of a pattern. There's already there something within us, right, that already is ready to grow, develop. And all it needs is support, encouragement, a slight measure of guidance, but that's not the case. Because if there already is a predisposed patterns, then the parents are going to have difficulty making the child like themselves. So, if this father sees that this kid has a predisposed pattern towards something that doesn't fit in this tradition, that is going to upset him. He's going to, through all the sacrifices he's gone through, he's going to lose his kid. So he gets angry. Now, how can he spot the problem? Because there's something in him, some pattern he's identified with, he looks at, is pleased with, seems to have an interest in. Let's make it worse. Suppose he spots his son or daughter, right, enjoying it, caring for it, identifying with it. Make it worse, looks like he even loves it. Well, he's got to do something. Because if this goes on without interruption, he's going to lose his son. It's going to be, now, Along this pattern, there is another pattern. And they both may share it at different times. A negative. They want to make sure that there's something they don't want you to be. And that can be communicated in any number of ways. Like just every once in a while pointing out a certain kind of person that they don't want you to be like, and they'll make some snide remark about that when you're a kid, when you're growing up. So this then becomes very important. Because it may be that this pattern that the kid is getting into and finally loving may make the kid into what the family does not want him to be. Hey, you know what? He may be a burden on the family for the rest of their life. A failure. Well, best thing to do is send him into the Marines, right? Send him somewhere to toughen him up, get him in the right road, right? Send him to summer camp, straighten him up. Now look, the idea of reincarnation is Platonic. It's the Platonic idea of reincarnation that fits this model. And that's essential, right? Which is Platonic idea of reincarnation assumes that whatever it is you've learned and developed in your present life, upon death, that is what carries on into your next reincarnation. Therefore, the whole reincarnation is a learning. Now, one thing now, look at this. Why is there a need to talk about reincarnation and philosophical midwifery? Right? If you come with something that you need to develop and continue developing, and it has been blocked through the imposition of a pathologos, then there is suffering. Because suffering is when you're blocked from the thing you most want to develop. You've been blocked. It needs to be free. It needs to be blocked. It has to be free of this. Gain freedom from this oppression. If you do gain freedom from oppression, before the pathologos was introduced, there is greater freedom and a sense of play and justice. This blocked it. That's called the pathologos. When this is resolved, you go back to where you were before and continue with that kind of energy. You pick it up. Now look, the only philosophical reason for reincarnation is justice. Only reason. That's why the Republic is centered on justice. When you look out and look at all of the vast inequality and suffering throughout the world, and down your street, in your neighborhood, you have to ask yourself, why is there all of this injustice? It only makes sense if you are on a reincarnation route and you're carrying along, this is the world of the dead, and you're carrying along from one reincarnation to the other your past learning, then you must say, because of the vast inequality of life, people have not been free. They've done terrible things. History is nothing other than the blood-stained page of every page of history. The inequalities we perform, we participate in, your next reincarnation carries the implications of that. And that's why there is inequality. Therefore, reincarnation. Now, in the next world, there are many stories about this. The important thing in every story of reincarnation in the realm of the dead, in Hades or Tartarus, is that there is no learning. That's it. There's no learning. All there is the paying off of the pluses and the minuses. That's all. And then coming back to start again, carrying what it is you carried positively. You knocked off, you paid for the negatives, and that's your next reincarnation. Now, here is something quite interesting. Let us now agree about one thing. There is a pathologos. That every parent, whether they like it or not, passes whatever it is to their children. That's it. But now I want to add something. What if the pathologos that is transmitted itself has a vast history, going back to prehistorical days and times? Therefore, this pathology is not something a parent dreamed up in their own thinking to produce something. It's been carried on for hundreds, thousands of years. It has vast power. It's been purified through countless generations. Right? It has great precision. It can be recognized by everybody in the same problem. It is vast. It's got power. Because the one thing that maintains it is the assumption of loyalty. You have to be loyal to the pathologos and loyal to that pattern and defend it with your life.
But why? Why? I thought we were loyal to the people who taught us the...
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, but in reality, you're loyal to a pattern that goes back into history that they're now using. They do not realize at the moment they're passing it on, that they're passing on a teaching. They're just upset at something. If you sat them down in the chair and said, hey, let's talk about this. When you did what you did to pass on the pathologos, were you aware of the fact that you were passing on something that your fathers' 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 fathers passed on all the way down? When you did it, are you aware of the implications of what would follow once you pass it on to the kid? Do you realize what it's going to do to that child to give up what he loves and take this bullshit on as yours? What would they say? Yes?
I don't think they would have thought about it that much.
If you don't think they would have thought about it that much,
Yeah.
suggests they would have thought about it.
Yeah, I think they think it's important, for sure.
Then they did or didn't.
Well, they thought it was important in their time and in their parents' time, and maybe in their grandparents' time, but I don't think they realized that they're upholding a
Then what's your judgment?
Well, I don't know. I'm wondering, why is it so damn important?
Why is it so damn important for you to be like your family, the Huygards? Have they ever made that?
Know what that means,
Wait a minute. Have they ever said that? That we're above everybody? You be part of our family?
Yeah, they said that.
Seriously? As a principle?
Yeah.
And Christian as well on top of it?
Mm-hmm. And Norwegian.
And Norwegian?
Mm-hmm.
Do they know when they were doing that the effect it would have on you?
I think so. Not at the time. I didn't.
That want you to be a Norwegian, a Huygaard, right?
Yeah.
And the way they would do it is turn you into a loyal, obedient peasant in the family.
Well, I felt like I was getting some truth when they said that.
Well, do you think it's true? Do you think those qualities make a person better?
No.
Well, then you're given something that is not true.
Right.
You just switched, didn't you? Yeah, right. I'm glad you see that.
But I felt like this was a rare moment when they were revealing some secret teachings.
And what do you think of it now?
And I think it's bullshit.
Right.
But
What then? Did they know when they were doing it that it was bullshit?
well, that's a good question. I mean,
Or did they believe that?
if they did, then it was a great act.
Yeah.
That my father, this is my father speaking, but it seemed like he was
Telling the
sincere.
truth.
Yeah.
Everybody who passes on a path of logos has to look like they're telling the truth.
And like he was confiding in me. It was like a personal relationship there.
And that gives a personal relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also meaningful, isn't it? Then you can really say what you think. Or does it allow it?
I couldn't say what I thought. I just went, oh, wow, thank you. Thank you for revealing the truth.
Right. You may still be in it to some degree. The question we're raising is whether or not when in the transmission of the pathologos, do the people understand fully the implications of what they're doing on their child? No. And does it not have power and a long history? Therefore, when someone is going to fight against it, it isn't merely something their parent did to them.
Right.
It's something that has deep roots all the way back through many a tradition.
Yeah, and it does go back to that survival idea.
Yeah.
Because I felt so special, like, wow, we have to keep this name alive and survive, keep it surviving.
But you wanted to keep alive the joy they were sharing when they were telling you that bullshit.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to keep alive, that state of mind that they were in that were passing on this teaching.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, look. In philosophical midwifery, the issue of blame always comes up. And that's the issue we are on now. Right? When can you take the blame for something? What must be present? Now, whatever you tell me, well, I'm going to ask whether those things were present during the passage of a pathologos. That's all. Several questions. Would you agree there's one interesting dynamic that is always present? What you want to do is you want to get a kid who's in a good state during what's most important to him. You want to see him in the activity he's in. Pick on something of no consequence that's going on. Here it is. Charge the kid verbally or with action. Charge the kid as being stupid, evil, wrong for doing what he is doing. With the greatest show you can produce. As if it is the mark of caring. Therefore, we want the kid now to realize that he's doing something and he doesn't know why he's being pushed. Right? So he now feels guilty for doing what he's doing, and gives up what he loves. Here are the parents. They're doing it. Where's the blame? They've got great reasons for doing it. They have great reasons for doing it. I want to make them like us. I got great reasons for doing it. The odds are very good that they don't even know why they're doing it. But there's the blame. They're doing something that causes damage to the kid. Since they don't know, since they do not know what they're doing and why they're doing it and the consequences, therefore this is an act of ignorance. It's an act of ignorance. In truth, they don't know. The roots of their own hatred of this way of being they impose it. Now, what's interesting now, is it possible then to be in a family where there are no passage of any pathologos? If to do the pathologos transmission, it requires the parents to come out in an extraordinarily different way to reveal deep feelings about something then it most often occurs at random moments. When the parent sees the kid in a good state, when the scene is, there are no distractions, nothing else going on that will interfere with the drama, no one can knock on the door and interrupt this sacred moment. If it looks like they can then do it, bang! Now look, there is no point in a person's life when they are not going to act in an extraordinarily different way sometime in their life, in their family, with their kids. For something, and against something. Therefore, there's no escape of a pathologos. No escape because the child is in a tradition and they already have their dream, their predisposed pattern that they want to explore. It's already going to be a crisis sooner or later. It's inevitable. And so we have families that are experts in producing doctors. There are certain mothers who even have the rank. They're proud of the fact that in their family they have produced doctors. The only trouble is those doctors secretly wanted to be musicians, or they wanted to be writers, or they wanted to be something else. But through sweetness and light, they sugared the way all the way to the MD or any other degree. So that's the drama we're in. And I wanted to go here one more step. Now, if you want to surface whatever blocks I have, I'll pick my old dream. I'll pick an ideal I've thought about. Not good enough, Sue. I want to know if there really is truth, justice, goodness at the core of reality, including me. take that as the highest goal, you'll surface every block and it'll be easy. All the distractions, all the phony arguments you'll have to look at. Therefore, going for broke makes you then open to and susceptible to the role of dreams. Daydreams. Only way out is to awaken a recursive movement in your soul. Because that's the only way you're going to get the very goal you're seeking. And so, when you do midwifery, yeah, you can deal with practical problems people have. Yeah, okay, helps them. Yeah. But it's not the heart of this is where it really goes. Let me find out whether that's true. Is that true?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to take some time to do that. Questions?
But that would be evidence. That truth would be evidence of the fourth dimension.
Sure. That's right. Because that activity is fourth dimensional. Yeah, intuition, the realm of intuition. Yeah.
Well, the first idea you offered was the idea of providence and the basic structuring of the family. That there has to be some agency that moves it forward. And then you went on with the rest of the talk. But at the very beginning, and I'm wondering if, providence doesn't go all the way through that if you have a certain kind of view.
It can't help, it can't work without providence. Because while you're doing this in the realm within which there is providence.
Or something like loving the good.
Yeah. Well said.
So, is that recursive movement what's described in the Phaedo where you separate the soul itself by itself?
Yeah. Second hypothesis.
But what I mean is, like separating the soul itself by itself doesn't have that intellectual content of knowing. It doesn't have that, that's like a koan. I want to know if there really is truth, justice, and goodness at the core of reality and in me. It seems different than simply sitting and separating the soul itself by itself. There's no, like one is very intellectual with a koan, the other one is...
Different goals.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, but you said yes, separating your soul itself by itself is that.
To do that is a recursive movement.
So it's to separate the soul itself by itself with that contemplation.
Yeah. Well.
So are you suggesting there's a condition of the soul which is most apt to midwifery and philosophical midwifery?
Do it again.
Are you suggesting that there's a portion of the soul that is most apt to seeing philosophical midwifery?
That's right. That's right.
Thanks.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And that's what we're here for. And with it all, we can throw in a little bit of sitting or reflecting. And it's the most important game there is. Right? It's the most important game.
If you like seeing and talking, we meet on Saturday mornings. My place is kind of a dump. Gina, would you be willing to host Saturday morning if Pierre was willing to drop in? Well, that's the word. Thank you very much. I guess we'll see you at Gina's tomorrow morning if you care to join us.
Let it be.
You're invited.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll just put it in here with my.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I asked if they do it. Your legs are gonna be up this way.
That exchange, Ronnie?